Welcome to lecture 41 of our series in Gematria, the amazing power of Gematria. And this lecture 41 actually is the Gematria King. And I'm going to talk about King. Hamelech, the King in Hebrew, is also 41 in the placement value. So we're going to look at something to do with the festival that occurs in the Jewish calendar, usually in December, about Christmas time. Sometimes it coalesces. It's called Chanukah. This is a book, one of my early books I wrote. It doesn't include the normal inner values because I discovered that later on, but it includes the normal, the large values and the placement values, and not so much sort of bringing them together. A little bit of that. That was something very early in, was discovering that you can actually add systems together. So this is really sort of puritanical, simple Gematria. Anybody wants to get into the to understand a little bit of the systems, this is a good early book to read. On the picture is a menorah, because during the festival of Chanukah they light it's 8 branches with the one which is higher than the others, which is often in the center. It's sort of similar to the one in the temple. The one in the temple had 3 on either side, but the menorah has 4 on either side, because there were 8 days in which the oil was supposed to last for 1 day, and it lasts for 8 days. Just to give you a little bit of brief history on that, it was the time of the Maccabees, time when the Greeks governed during the Second Temple period, and they wanted to stop the Jewish people from keeping their religion. And one of the things they did was to impurify the oils, because they didn't accept this idea of purity, of spiritual purity. An animal is an animal. Why should some animals be clean or spiritually clean, and some animals be spiritually impure? So they went in the temple, and some people think they just destroyed the oil. They didn't break the oils. What they did was they broke the seals of the oils, because they wanted the Jewish people to use the oil to light the menorah, but they didn't want them to use pure oil because they didn't like this idea of purity. So they broke the seals, and when the Maccabees first, which began with Mattatyahu, who had 5 sons, and they used guerrilla warfare against the Greeks, retook the temple, cleansed it of all the impure things that were in it, like animal sacrifices that weren't pure, like pig, and they then searched for oil to light the menorah, and they found 1 cruse of oil, and that oil would have been enough to last for 1 day, but it lasted for 8 days, and hence we have this festival of Chanukah to commemorate the miracle that was done at that time, around about sort of 200 years before the Common Era. So one of the games that are played during that festival is called the Dreidel Game, and I've got a dreidel here. It's got 4 sides to it, and on each side there's a letter, and when you twirl it around it will fall onto on one side, and the one that's at the top will give you instruction what to do. So you have a kitty of, we used to play with hazelnuts, coins or whatever that you can use, peas, and so each of the letter, whether you put in one, whether you can take half, whether you can take the whole lot, or whether you do nothing. And the letters on this dreidel represent 4 words. They represent Nase, Gadol, Haya, Sham. So that's a Nun, Nase, Gadol is a Gimel, Gimel, Gadol, Hey for Haya, Sham, Shin for Sham. That means Nase Gadol, a great miracle. Nase means a miracle. Nase Gadol, a great miracle. Haya was Sham there. If you lived in Eretz Israel, so they use a dreidel. I don't have it here. This is just another version of it, which you can't really see the letters of. They're all the same colour as the actual plastic. So in Israel they use a dreidel which has the letters Nes Gadol Hayapo, so they have a pei instead of a shin. So because the miracle took place in Israel, but outside Israel you'll have Nes Gadol Hayasham. So where is Sham? Really, Sham is in the temple. So even if you're in Israel, many people will use this one, Nase Sham, because Sham is in the temple, and you're not living in the temple, you're not living in Jerusalem. So if you're living in Jerusalem, you might use the dreidel that says Nase Po. A great miracle happened there. So what is the significance of this little toy, this game? Hidden in it are some interesting things. Let's grab a pen. So, excuse me. So, Nase, Nun, I'll put it in block, Gadol, Haya, Sham. Many Jewish people know that the Gematria of that is 358. That's 50 in normal values. That's 3, 5 and 300. And Mashiach is 358. So people know that and think, well, this is sort of like a dreidel of hope that the Messiah will come. But there's a little bit more than that, because this actual game reveals who the Messiah is. And that's hidden in it as well. So let's have a look at now the letters on the other dreidel, Nase, Gadol, Haya, Po. And that equals 50 plus 3 plus 5 plus 80. Normal values. It's 138. And that is the Gematria. I'll just put NV there for normal values. And that is the Gematria of Menachem, which the Talmud in Sanhedrin, page 98, says that the name, one of the names, the Mashiach, is Menachem. So we'll discuss why Menachem on another occasion, because it's actually brought down in the book of Lamentations. This what it means a little bit. So we've got 138 there as well, normal values. Okay, so that seems to indicate that who the Mashiach is. So I put a tough there. It should be a chet. Who the Mashiach is, excuse me, is Menachem. Menachem means comforter. Okay, and so that's one stage. But we're going to go deeper. We're going to look at this a little bit more deeper, because there's more. I'm going to rub these off now. Okay, so we have these numbers, 358 and 138. And there is a middle number between those, and that middle number is 248. And the difference between them is 110. So 148, the number for 248, people will tell you, well, that's Abraham is 248. It's also the 248 commandments, positive commandments that are in the Torah, the 630 commandments, the 365 negative, and 248 positive. So that's connected to that number. But as such, I'm not so much interested in that at the moment. There is another thing I'll bring this into at another lecture where this comes in. So if we look at these two numbers here, 110. 110 is the Gematria of Nase, miracle, which we had as Nase Gadol Haya Sham, a great miracle, Nase. So this is double Nase, a double miracle. Well, there were two miracles. There was a miracle, the fact that, as we say in our prayers at that time, we say that God handed the many into the hands of the few. Where the Greeks were a big army and the Hebrews were small. That's one miracle. And then there was the miracle of the light, of this small amount of oil that lasted for a longer time. So we have this connection with two miracles and Nase. So, but the word Nase is also connected to the story where in the book of Bamidbar, where the Israelites are complaining about the food that they're eating, and they don't like it, and they call it this light stuff, and it's the manna that they're eating. And God sends against them serpents, fiery serpents, and it starts to kill them. And they repent and go to Moses, we've sinned against you and we've sinned against God. And then God says to Moses, take a Nase. Normally his stick that he walks with is called a matter, but a Nase is probably a longer stick. A Nase is like a banner or a pole. and put around it a serpent. Now the word Nachash, and we've done this before, Nachash is a serpent. The Nachash in the story of in the story in creation, where the primeval serpent is called a Nachash, and that is 358, which is the same as Mashiach. Okay, so we see that there's a connection between the Nachash and Mashiach. That's in the normal values. Okay, so. And I've talked about the caduceus, where you've got a Nachash going up one side and a Nachash going up the other side. So you've got a Nachash, which is 358, plus another Nachash, which is 358. Added together is 16, 1, 7. 716. If you take the word caduceus, it's down here, C-A caduceus, okay, and you work out the normal value of caduceus. This is 3, 1, 4, 300, 3, 5, 300 and 100. You will get 716. Okay? Going up the middle of that is the pole. Okay? The pole and the serpents are going around. Okay? The dreidel spins around and these are going up. Remember, 110, I've had this, gave you this before, is the Christ is 110. Okay, so there are a lot of things. 110. Adolf Hitler, right? President, 110. Lots of things. But this equals Christ because this is relevant to what we're talking about here about Mashiach, and the caduceus is connected to Mashiach. It's the two serpents that are going up either side of the pole. As far as the two serpents are concerned, that's going to be another lecture. We're talking about Mashiach ben David and Mashiach ben Yosef, the two messiahs, and which converge into one. All right, that's what the Lubavitcher Rebbe said. Menachem ben Shneimson, he said that the Mashiach ben David and Mashiach ben Yosef will actually merge into one being in the end, and that's why the two serpents go up and they become an eagle. The Nesher. What is the Nesher at the top? The eagle. Nun Shin Reish. Nesher is 50. 300 and 200 is 550. What is the large value of the word serpent? Serpent. I'm not sure you're going to be able to see that because I think I'm going to write it up here. So we've got Nesher is 550, and if I write serpent up here, serpent, and I find the large values is 550. Okay, large value, that's 86, 42, 73. Large values, we take the placement value, which is 19, and we work out what the word 19 is, which is 86. Okay, look at back at my other lectures, and you'll see. So serpent is 550. if I add 550 plus 550, I will get 0, 0, 1. And I'll get 1, and I get this 110, which is what I call moved over, is what I call a harmonic. I haven't talked about harmonics before, but harmonics are like when we have 770 and 77. 770 is a harmonic, is a multiple of 10, which shifts it over to the next thing. They are basically the same concept, but at a higher different form of energy. So, okay. So we've got this connection now between the dreidel and the Nase that Moshe had. Now, why was it that Moshe held a staff, a Nase, a banner, with a serpent going on it? With the caduceus, got two serpents going on, because Moses was the caduceus. Moses was the other serpent. And that I'll leave for another time. But Moses' hand, the hand of Moses was he was the Messiah, he was the Redeemer at that time, and it didn't take two serpents. So when we talk about the Asclepius, which is in my book on the caduceus, you'll see how I talk about the Asclepius, which is the one serpent healing rod, whereas the caduceus is a two serpent healing rod. They are really much connected to each other, because the person that uses the Asclepius to heal other people, which is what this rod did with the serpent on it, it's called a Nechushtan, it's called in the Bible, which comes with Nachash, and Hezekiah the king destroyed it, broke it up because the people were worshipping it. It had magical powers. So So this person who's a redeemer, Moses, is the other serpent, and that's why when he had a rod, he could turn it into a serpent, and he combated Pharaoh. And Pharaoh, you look at some of the headgear of the pharaohs, the hats that the pharaohs used to wear, used to have a serpent on it, because the serpent represents kingship and rulership. So we'll leave that. We're going to move on a little bit more deeper into this, and we're going to so now we're going to look at the number. I've got all my work scattered all over the place. We'll look at the word Nase, which is 110. But it's also, that's the normal value, 50 and 60. Okay? The placement value is 14 and 15, which is 29. That's the PV. And it's got a large value of 169. That's the LV. And it's got an normal inner value of 163. That's the normal inner value. Okay? So now, if I take these two, I'll get 332. Okay? I've added the large value and the normal inner value. What I've added is the external two systems, because the internal ones is the placement value and the normal value on either side. Well, both are the basic fundamental systems, and then they're extended to either side. Okay, so the normal inner value is an extension of the normal value, and the large value extension of the placement value. This number here, if we take 110, I'm going to change. Put that there. Oops, 110. There. That's good. That's the normal value. Okay. What is 110 equal to? If I write it down as 110. If I work out that, I will get 166. Okay, that's the placement value of 110. Okay, so 166. If I add these together now, so no, I don't add them together, but not yet. We'll do that in a minute. I've got two of these. Why? Because I had 358, and I had 138, and I had 248, and I had 110 there, and 110 there. So I've got two of these. So if I add 166 plus 166, I'll get 3. I'll get 332, which is the same as that. Okay? So I can get this number in two ways from here. One, I have to actually double the Nase, and I have to then, and this one I'm using the external values of large values and normal inner values. What is this number? This number is, this is the normal value of Menachem Mendel. Ayin Nun Daled Lamed. Okay, Menachem Mendel is 138, which we had before, 138, and Mendel is 194. Okay, add those together, Menachem Mendel equals 332. So we see his name is alluded to within the word Nase twice. Okay, Nase we said was 110. 110 is the Christ. So you can see this whole connection between Christ, we said, for example, the Hebrew word for Christ, Kaf, Reish, Yud, Samach, Tav, was 770. So Christ has a lot of, or 77 in English, Christ is 77, the Christ is 110. So we see this coming in. Now, this number here we've had twice. So, and interestingly, there were two Menachem Mendels. There was 7 Rebbes of Lubavitch. The third one was Menachem Mendel, Menachem Mendel Schneerson, and the 7th one was Menachem Mendel Schneerson. And if you look at it, look at the tefillin, and I've explained this also before, that the tefillin has got a shin on one side. The shin is this letter, and it's got a shin on one side and a shin on the other side of the box. This is what Jewish people wear in the morning. And one shin on one side has got 4 branches, and the other's got 3, giving you together 7. Okay, so this is all connected to the menorah that has 7 branches. Okay, so yes, I wasn't going to go too deeply into that at the moment, but that Shein represents Shneism. We'll see that it's also connected to the Messiah as well. So looking at this now, we're going to what we've got over here. Okay, so we've had 169 and 136 equals 332. What about the whole lot? If I add the whole lot, I'll get 9 and 9 is 18 plus 3 is 21. I'll get 1 and 2 is 3 plus 6 is 9 plus 6 is 15, 16, 17. 1, 2, 3, 4. I get 471. What is that? It's Shneism. It's the normal value of Shneism. We use the normal value for the Hebrew of Menachem Mendel, gives me 332. I use the normal value of the English Shneism, and I get 475. So we see the Hebrew name and the English name hidden in the word Nase. I think that's a miracle on its own. So now, just another sort of idea I just was going to show you before. Right, this Nase, we had the word Nase was 110, and we said 110 equals 166. If I add those together, I get 276. If I take 138 and I work out what is the value of 138 Menachem, which is the last part of the Dreidel, right? That also equals 276. So we see this connection again between Menachem and the Nase, the Dreidel. So, where does that bring us? So it's not just a sort of game of hope. It's an actual secret message that is hidden on the dreidel, and you need both dreidels. Okay, you need both dreidels to do that. So, just to finish off, what happened was that there was a rededication of the temple due to the resanctification of the temple, due to the Maccabees winning the war and repossessing Jerusalem. So I'm just going to extend these numbers here, because the recapturing of the temple was part of the miracle, the victory. So if we were to work out what each of these numbers come to, if we work out the placement value, so we know that 110 is 166, 29 is 149, and 169 is 266, and 163 is 280. 280, by the way, is the normal inner value of the word king. But if I add all these together, remember I added all these together and I got 471, that was for Shneism. I add all these together, I'll get 12, 6 is 12, 21, I got 6 and 4 is 10, 16, 24, 25, 26, carry 2, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, I got 861. What is 861? Beit HaMikdash, which is the sanctuary, the temple. Beit HaMikdash is what it's called in Hebrew. Beit HaMikdash, sorry, I'm not putting the right letters on. Shin, Beit Ha, I know what I was doing, just missed it. Beit HaMikdash. Okay, Beit HaMikdash is 861 normal value. Okay, and the person who brought the rededication of the temple about was the man called Matityahu, who had the 5 sons. Okay, Matityahu is spelled Mattathias in English. Matityahu. Well, people say it's a Greek name, but Matatu comes from the root Natain, which means to give. Natati Lanu, it means to give. Yud Hey Vov are the letters, or first 3 letters of God's name. God gives. What did God give? He gave the base of Mikdash, and that's because he also equals 161 in normal values, right? That's 400 and 400 is 800, 40 and 10 is 850, plus another 11 is 861. So we see that Netanyahu was completely connected to the Beit HaMikdash, which is connected to the Nase, whole complete miracle that took place at that time, which is connected to Mashiach, and that's going to be bringing about the building of the third temple, which is another topic. Okay, hope you enjoyed that lecture, and please give me a like, join my website. I've got quite a few people now members of it. If you want to buy this book, I only have a few of these actually left at the moment. I think there's a few left on my website. You're welcome to buy that. I think it's available as an e-book as well, so you can purchase that anywhere in the world. And take a look at some other lectures if you haven't seen them. Right, thank you very much. We'll see you again sometime, or you'll see me again sometime.